if you're working an hour and a half every day, how much time are you losing doing research before you call? Especially if you do all this research and then you call and they don't answer.
They don't answer, yeah.
And how much time was wasted on all of those. Or if they just say no. I'm a real estate investor. I'm sharing everything I know about Subject to in a way that complete beginners understand. This guy is John Pratt, our fearless novice, diving headfirst into the world of Subject to real estate deals. Watch as I start him on the path. I'm your guide, Kyle Kargas, and this is Subject to Real Estate Secrets, the path from moron to millionaire. Welcome to Subject to Real Estate Secrets, the path from moron to millionaire. Subject to is when you can go buy a house, take over existing mortgage, the seller gets to move on, has sold the house, but you gotta buy a house and take over the mortgage without dealing with a bank, your credit, or any of the other nonsense. We are doing moron to millionaire. You're the moron. Welcome to the show.
Awesome, thank you.
I love that I can call you a moron every day.
Yes, that's how I like it set up with moron and millionaires.
And right, we're all reaping benefits. This is fantastic. Everyone watching as well. So glad to have you. Today's episode is gonna be really cool because it's gonna be like two phases, right? Obviously we do homework every day. You're gonna report back to me. I have some ideas. I have some questions for you. I want to say, okay, based on where you're at right now, what is probably the next block that's getting in your way from getting these deals? Okay, so that will be the kind of phase one of today's episode. And then stay with us, everyone, because after we're going to do some role play.
Okay, yes.
Okay?
A little nervous about that, but who cares?
I know, I just told you I want to do some role play. This is great. I know it's live. People are going to be watching it, but this is good. This will give you where you can even go back and watch this episode later, see where you were, retweak things on how you say it, etc. That part is super important in your evolution. Every call you make should be recorded. If you ever go to in-person appointments, you should be recording those calls. If you really want to get good, you listen to them and try to listen like, oh, dang it, I should have said this. I should have changed my tone here. There's a lot of tweaks and stuff that could be changing. But without making it too complicated, I need to hear your homework.
Sure, yeah.
I'm excited to see how did this week go? Let us all know.
Yeah, so I tallied up my KPIs instead of numbers. So let's see. Only 33 LOIs sent. Last week it was 87. But
that's a lot different. Okay,
hang with me there.
Okay.
Last week I had a really good response rate.
Last week was high. It was like
21% or something like that. Here it's one response out of 33 from email response. It was around there, maybe two, I guess.
Okay.
So actual conversations, people I was on the phone with, talking with, seven.
Seven conversations with people.
And then from those conversations, 5 appointments.
Okay, so let's go through it.
Okay.
This is what I want you and other people need to know. What does that mean, right? They're starting to understand and you're starting to understand like, okay, what it is.
Yeah.
But what does it mean? And is it good, bad? And guess what? Every week's going to be different. Yes, you might have certain tendencies and you're going to find a rhythm, but there'll be some times you're like, what the heck? Your response rate, you just said you were at 20% and then now you're like 1 out of 33. You times it by 3. That's only a 3% response rate.
Yeah, that's not as good as 21.
A little bit lower, right?
But I didn't want to care too much. It's more appointments than when my response rate was 21% because I was biffing.
Right. Well, because I could tell something's different.
Yeah.
You adjusted something.
Right.
So what did you do different? And I have an idea based on what you just told me, because if you only had 1 response rate, how in the world did you have 7 conversations, John?
Because I don't want a low response rate. It'll ebb and flow.
Right.
But I can't really ebb and flow just based on that. So I have to work around it. So if people respond back, yes, I'm going to call them. If they don't respond back, my plan of action is exactly the same. Just get on the phone with them. It's just a different opener now.
I love it.
Based on the scenario.
So really, there's only 2 options. You're setting up the LOI for a purpose, and that's to create a warm call, a warm conversation. So you only had 1 person respond back, and so you either email or called them, right? And that was a potential warm conversation versus the other ones were cold calling. I would say not completely cold because you did still send them an email.
Yeah, and I referenced that.
And you can reference it when you call them, right?
Yeah.
So it's still not like, oh, hey, I'm calling you out of the blue. You have no idea. It's like, no, I'm literally calling to check up on something I sent you. So no matter what, it's at least like slightly warm. If they reach out to you, that's just showing more motivation. And it's just even warmer, right?
And I don't think that response even set an appointment. They were just some response.
Isn't that funny?
They said something.
Isn't
I can't
that funny?
remember. Yeah.
But I love that you're not okay with just leaving it where it lies.
No, because that's 33 LOIs out there in the open.
Right. And you're working at least an hour a day for 5 days,
For 5 or 6,
sometimes
yeah.
6.
Yeah.
So if you're working at least an hour a day, it's like if you send out those LOIs and you only get one response rate, and all you're going to do is call that one person, like, what are you doing with the rest of your freaking time?
That takes 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's
That's
more
if you
hours.
that's if they actually answer the phone.
Yeah.
Should it really take you 15 minutes on the phone?
No, not on the phone. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just total 15.
Your total time,
You know, I
okay.
take little notes after so I don't call them back with some weird context.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I still think somewhat generous still, right?
Okay,
Which is
sure.
totally fine. But if it's like, okay, 15 minutes to like, oh, I'm going to email them back, I'm going to call them, that includes my conversation plus taking notes, whatever. And that's fine if you want to use 15 minutes, but obviously if you're cranking them out. For example, I just got done doing, it was called the man versus machine. Okay, so this was with Pace Morby. Basically, there was 3 of us and him on a team. We were the human team, man. And then it was prop.ai, which I've mentioned before, was one of the options on how you could create leads, right? And you chose to do LOI Blaster. Prop.ai is using AI to call people, okay? So this challenge, it was really fun. And it was us who was gonna win. Who could set up more leads, and we did it for only 45 minutes. Now, guess what? We weren't using LOI Blaster, so it was no warm lead. So all these leads were cold. Myself, Landon Moore, and Andrew, we were like the 3 closers, okay? Well, we all have experience, but we decided, we pulled back, put on different hats.
Yeah.
We're like, we're just gonna be cold callers for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we called direct to agent, all the same stuff that I'm having you call. In 45 minutes, I literally just cold called. I called 11 people, and I got 3 appointments set up. I wanted to go and answer these questions that they'd have. I had the answers. Because
Yeah.
I could have taken it all the way to close and try to get a deal.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I don't know anything about that. I was more interested in a cash offer of buying this, but that won't work. So like, my partner does creative where he takes over loans, and they ask a question. I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. I'm like, but let me run things by him, and like, he can call you tomorrow. I'm just setting up an appointment. I really pulled back. And so I know, I can tell you, some people that watch this, that is their problem on trying to get appointments. They're taking it too far, and they're spending too much time on the phone with somebody, when if they can already get an appointment and they're showing interest and they're open to at least talking about creative, boom, get it on the appointment, move on.
Yeah.
Don't spend the full 15 minutes is what I'm saying with that. Because otherwise, yeah, in 45 minutes, guess what? If I break it down to 15 minutes,
That's 3.
that would have been 3. But guess what? I had to call people that were also a no. I had to call people that weren't answering the phone. I got 3 appointments set up in 45 minutes. Here's another reference point. My virtual assistant, our goal for her is in an 8-hour workday, her goal is to get 2.5 appointments a day. Because obviously there's a difference when you're calling 8 hours a day rather than just in a spurt. Now you are kind of doing more of the spurt, right? You're doing an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something like that every day of work. So the goal would be, 1, I want you to see kind of potential. How many leads, right? When you say, okay, you run through the KPIs, it's like, okay, here's how many LOIs were sent. That's to give you a warm call, so it's easier to set an appointment. Then it's, okay, response rate, you only got 1. So one adjustment you could have made, you could have pulled another list and sent out more LOIs to try to get more responses.
More response.
So that was one response. Or you just say, hey, that's the best I'm gonna get right now, so now I'm just gonna pick up the phone and call these other people that didn't respond because they're maybe not perfectly warm, but they're slightly warm because I sent them an email.
That's the route that maybe I'm dumb for doing that, but I figured, hey, I'm calling these people. I keep getting appointments.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep mining those 33 for appointments.
Yeah, 100% I would do that.
Okay.
I think both are valuable. You just went from 20% response rate to a 3% response rate. I don't think it's going to stay down at 3%. I think you just had a really low response rate this time, right? Maybe you had a really high response rate at 20. Maybe in all reality, you end up with more of a 10%.
And maybe I sent it a different time of week. I actually don't know.
It could be all sorts of stuff that you got to figure out, right? But as you do this over and over, remember, you doing this, you are learning every week. Not just from me and what I explained to you, but your own experience. And you're like, ooh, my response rate. That's why these is so important, John, to track this data.
Yes. And with the KPIs, like I mentioned a couple episodes ago, it's like it helps me know what data to not care about. If it's not a KPI, maybe I don't care about it as much.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Key performance indicators, these are the ones that determine performance.
Yeah.
They indicate it, right? So you should only care about these indicators for right now. Anything else? No, we'll figure it out, okay? So bottom line is your LOIs do matter because it can dramatically increase your number of appointments. So this week, it does matter that it was low. You had to make an adjustment because of it, and you decided to pick up the phone, and your adjustment was, I'm gonna call these people whether they responded or not. So good adjustment, okay? And now you're gonna keep watching that, and let's watch it going forward. And you ended up with 7 conversations, 5 appointments out of those 7 conversations, John.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay, good.
Think about it. I got 3 appointments in that 45 minutes.
How many conversations?
So I called 11 people total, and I had 5 conversations.
Okay, and 3 appointments.
Yeah. So bumping it up 2, dude, you were right in line.
It's similar.
Very, very similar. So with the number of people that you actually talked to, with the number of appointments you were set, you did really well.
Okay, stellar. Okay, good. Okay.
So you should feel really good about that. Do you see why it's important again?
Yeah.
Not just to find the issues.
Yeah.
It's also to say, hey, actually, once I get them on the phone, if I can actually have a conversation with someone, I'm not too bad on setting up these appointments.
I felt that yesterday.
You did great. Yeah. So I love that. There you go. So that's your current status of where you are. Now, John, you still didn't get a deal yet.
A deal, yeah.
Okay? You can feel yourself inching closer and closer. You set 5 appointments. My feedback to you is some of those went well, some didn't go well.
That's my next question is, am I like throwing bricks here?
Right.
Like,
so you're always going to throw some bricks. That's just how it goes. So the point isn't like, oh, are there any bricks, right? I'd rather have conversations with people that end up not being interested, right? Like some of them were like, yeah, I will tell you, you've done a good job on, I don't really get any conversations from you where it's like, wait, creative? No, we're not interested. Does that make sense? You're doing good on actually bringing it up in your conversation and confirming that they're open to creative. Or you've had some cash leads too.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, hey, talk about cash. What you can't control is whether it's a real deal or not. So for example, here's one of your leads. I think her name was Jolene. A really small house. It's condition-wise should be a fix and flip. And basically it was like, yep, $197,000, right? That's the lowest that they can go, right? So I get on the phone, we start talking. That's full retail price is $197.
For that, okay.
For that price, okay? But the problem is, I start asking, I'm like, oh, is there any wiggle room? She's like, there's no wiggle room. Like literally, this is the lowest. She's like, maybe $1,000. It's like at this price, like she's pretty much walking away with nothing. They do have a loan on it, so it's not own free and clear. The condition of the house says fix and flip.
Yeah.
Which would normally mean a discounted purchase because it's not worth full retail when the condition of the house is that.
But they want full retail because that's what they bought it at. It looks like they were in the middle of a fix.
Well, I asked that. So I'm like, was this the middle of a fix and flip? It's like, no. Basically, they bought it, they put family in it as a rental, and the family destroyed the house. Stop paying rent.
I didn't know that.
And finally, yeah, and that's fine. You're just setting an appointment, John. Yeah. It's my job to pull this information out.
Okay.
The good news is that means I'm doing my job. Look at all this new information I can share with you. So it was a rental. They stopped paying, destroyed the house. It's bad.
I literally was looking at the pictures on that one, and it looked like it was a demo, like their mid-demo.
Right.
That's how
bad of the state that their family left the house in.
That's the situation. That's
the situation.
The real life.
Now they're in a rock and a hard place, John.
The seller.
The seller is because
Majorly.
They're not just asking for $197,000 because that's what they bought it for. The yes and no because they bought it for that, but they also have a loan, so it's not just a personal preference. Their loan is like $188,000 or something, so and then you have to pay for a real estate agent and closing costs and stuff.
So they're losing money selling it.
Literally at $197,000, it's a break even.
Oh, it's barely a break even.
It's barely,
okay.
Maybe $1,000. I'm like, oh, 196. Sorry, because then I run the numbers. Hey, what could I sell this for if I were to come in and have to fix up this house? I ran the numbers.
The ARV.
The ARV on it is actually $275,000.
Okay. Not awful.
But not enough.
Yeah, okay.
This is a learning lesson for everyone watching and for you.
Okay.
197, almost $200,000 to 275. There's 75, that's only $75,000.
And you don't know the condition, it's a wild card.
Looking at the pictures gives me an idea though of the condition. I haven't walked it. Now it's a smaller home. However, the roof is toast. The panel's super old. I asked if the AC works. She says no, but I think it just needs a capacitor. No.
What panel?
An electric panel.
Oh yeah,
on the
yeah,
outside,
okay.
Because it's an old house. So this thing could need all new plumbing in the
roof
ground.
20.
It needs a roof. It needs a new electric panel. The AC's not working. thinks, quote, I think it only needs a capacitor, which would be like $300 to $500. I mean, and that's a lot. That's expensive side. If the AC doesn't work, it probably needs a whole new AC.
It's not a capacitor.
And comparisons, the other comps I was looking at had brand new roofs, had a brand new AC, had all that. So even if I could get by and not do it, I might not get the same price. If a buyer comes up, it's like, ooh, I want to buy this house, and it comes with a brand new roof, brand new AC, all the big stuff taken care of for me, I might be more willing to pay extra for that house than another house that's like, oh, there's no issues, but the roof is 12 years old. The AC works, but it's 20 years old.
The investor?
As an end buyer, I'm going to be like, I'm a little worried that the AC might go out in the next year or two, even if it's running.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you see there's a difference.
Oh,
I might not be able to sell it for as much
Yeah.
as an investor as well, right? I know I switched back and forth there on you.
No, I got you,
But
yeah.
that house alone, I easily could put in $50,000, $60,000.
And then it's slim. It's very slim after
It's
that.
non-existent.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
What people don't know in the flipping, and I wasn't planning on going into flipping a little bit on this. If I buy it, John, for $197, did I really buy it for $197? Is that my all-in price,
No,
John?
because that's your entrance price.
That's their asking price.
Yeah.
Now, luckily at
There's
the 197, their loan is less, so that does include their agent. But I'm going to have closing costs that I have to pay. So actually, I probably will be paying slightly over $200,000 to buy the house. If I did everything and sold it for $275, John, do I get $275 minus, let's say it's exactly $200 I bought it for? Do I get to keep? There's $75,000 there. Let's say I spent $60. Is my profit $15? Now the
So
$60,000
not.
is materials as well.
Okay,
But
got it.
time. How does time cost me money in a fix and flip?
Because there's opportunity costs.
Well, there's opportunity costs, but how did I buy this house?
With
now
interest, you're paying interest.
I'm paying interest. I could buy a house with cash, but no one that does a lot of flips is buying houses really with cash. I started doing that, John. When I first started in fix and flip, I would go and spend all my cash to buy the house, spend my cash to fix it up, spend my cash. Dude, dumbest thing ever. Anyone that does the high volume, you go get a hard money loan. So there's actually cost. I have to get a loan for $200,000. Possibly a private money loan for $60 to fix it, unless I want to bring my own cash for that portion. And now I have monthly payments that I have to be paying and expenses that if it takes 6 months to do,
Now you're over. You're over 275
I'm over.
at that point.
Now, guess what? Did I have to pay an agent to go ahead and sell that house for me? Most of the time. Now,
Yeah, at the
I
end.
am licensed, so I possibly could list it myself, but I did have to pay probably a buyer's agent to bring a new buyer. Did I have to stage it? Did I have to put like a little couch in it to make it look nice?
Probably.
Maybe. That's an expense. What if when they did their inspection, they found something else? A brand new house, John.
Yeah.
You get an inspection, you still find things. Brand new build.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So even though I fixed everything that I found, if they come in, the buyer comes in with a home inspector, are they going to find some stuff? Yes, they are. Might have to spend $1,000, $2,000 fixing whatever little issues they find. All of a sudden now, if I literally ran the numbers and I was like, dang, sorry, Jolene, I'll actually lose probably $10,000 to $15,000 if I would buy their house at their price and sell it for $275. Am I looking to lose $10,000 to $15,000?
Not
No.
today.
They can't lower their price. But if they could lower their price 10 to 15, would I do it? No.
Well, they need to break even.
I'd break even. Why in the heck would I want to buy a deal just to break even?
To lock it up for 6 months and then break
How
even.
much profit do I want to make on a deal? Do I even want to buy a house only making $10,000? Taking all the risk. What if the house doesn't sell for $275? It only sells for $265. If my profit was only $10,000, I just broke even. No, I'm not buying that deal to make $10,000. So like, literally, this is not going to be a fix and flip deal. They need to literally drop the price by like $30,000.
So they need to eat $30K.
Yeah, seller does not have $30,000 or $40,000.
So they're just gonna have to sit on it and rent it to more family because no one's really gonna rent it in that state.
Nobody can rent in that state. Seller doesn't have money,
that.
so they're a little above a creek. Now we start looking at creative.
Yeah.
Because actually the rate on it, I think is like 2-point-something%.
Okay.
Maybe 3. Great rate. It needs like $60,000 worth of work. And I believe she's behind on her mortgage.
Okay.
So I might have to come in with $5,000 to $10,000 just to catch up the mortgage.
Take it out of pre-foreclosure.
To take it out of pre-foreclosure. Their real estate agent needs to get paid, so I might have to spend $5,000 to $8,000 more to pay for that agent plus closing costs. So that could be like $20,000 just to buy the house. Then in that condition, I can't rent it out. So I either have to go spend $60,000 to fix it all up, and then not sell it
Yeah.
because there's no profit there. Now I'm $80,000 in to rent it out. Now I have to look on my return on my money, and is that where my money should be? Alternatively, do I really need to spend $60,000 if I'm just going to rent it out? It doesn't need to be as nice just to rent it as it would be to get this end buyer that wants to buy their dream home.
So, but still, you're looking at 35, 40, right?
So
I'm guessing.
possibly could even be less, right? Like, is there a world where maybe I could spend 20 to 30 maybe and make it nice? Maybe the AC I don't replace. Maybe I do find out it's just a capacitor or 2 parts.
Maybe it's got 5 more years.
And it got 5 more years. I'm like, okay, the roof is shot though, so I got to do the roof, right? Can I keep older tile in there? And maybe that's still fine because it's a rental, right? So there's things like that I'm looking at. So right now, basically, Jolene is going and getting the mortgage statement to bring it back to us so we can actually underwrite the real numbers.
Okay. So it's not dead.
It's not dead. It's definitely dead from a cash perspective, right? But we're looking at it from a creative, okay? So that's just an example. That's a great lead.
Okay.
Is it your job to find out how much debt there is, and could it be a cash deal? Could it be a creative deal? Does it really work? No, you're an appointment setter right now.
Yeah.
You know, that's just one of your 5.
Because that was one of my concerns is like, I figure maybe there's something wrong. I'm getting all these appointments. Like, that's why I asked, am I throwing up bricks?
Great question. Now, another good thing to make sure, plug this in. I've said it in the past. Well, how many average touches does it take to get a deal?
More than I remember.
More than you remember. 13.
13. Okay, yeah.
13.
Yeah.
13 average touches
Yeah.
to get a deal. If you emailed them your LOI,
Yep.
let's say they actually saw it, that's 1 touch.
I think she actually replied back. Maybe
Right.
she was the response.
So let's say
I can't remember.
you send her an LOI, she replies back,
Okay.
1 touch.
Okay.
You then call her.
Yeah.
And that was one of your conversations and you locked up the appointment, that was 2 touches.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with her and that's 3.
She's coming back.
The average is to have 10 more touches before it goes under contract. That's the average. It might be 15 or 20. It might be, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, if I lock up a deal, the first conversation I have with them and I'm like, that's 3? Well, that's super low on average, which means there's other ones that take 30, 40. Because guess what? We put them in the CRM and we're going to text them or call them again next month. Hey, how's it going? Because timing wasn't right.
Yeah.
So all of that matters.
Okay.
That's the important part to remember. Just because you send 5 deals and not one of them worked out, well, if the average is 13, how long does it take to do 13 touches on a deal?
Could take a month. I don't know.
Could take a long time.
Yeah.
It's remembering that it's not necessarily like I know your other condo, it got real close and it happened very, very quickly. And something could happen very, very quickly. It definitely can. But that's not the average.
And big picture, I wouldn't even ask this, like, unless I was interested in if I'm throwing up bricks.
Exactly.
Like, because I wouldn't even remember, to be honest. And I think that's good. We talked about one-itis last episode or the episode before that. And it's like, yes, I'm 100% down. Just throw them your way.
Yep.
And look, if you say, John, the last 58 million appointments are terrible, stop giving me this type of appointment.
You want it for
Then I'll know.
feedback.
Yeah, for
You
feedback.
want it for feedback, which is actually perfect. It's not one-itis, it's feedback. Do I need to change something now because I can pull information from what's going on rather than 3 months from now, I'm still doing the same thing and it's like, oh, and that was bad because it was all just crappy appointments. I want to do some role play with you. Oh, you just got 5 appointments out of 7 people.
Yeah, if I'm talking with them.
If you're talking with them.
Yeah.
That's the conversation we're about to have.
Okay.
Sounds like you're actually doing pretty good.
Okay.
Some people right now will be struggling with this. And so I want people to know where you're at right now in this conversation. This is good feedback for you because people might look at this and say, oh, he didn't do very good. Oh, that's all I have to do to get 5 out of 7 leads?
Yeah.
That's freaking phenomenal. Let's have that. You're going to be you.
Okay.
I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
You're going to call me and I'm going to make stuff up.
I'm going to biff it and laugh out of nervousness and
That's
whatever.
totally fine.
Okay.
There's no mistakes. Yes, hello.
Hey, Kyle? Do I
Yeah?
have the wrong number? I'm trying to reach Kyle.
This is Kyle.
Okay. Hey, my name's John. I hope you don't hate me too much. I'm a real estate investor, actually talking about 123 West whatever Street.
Okay.
Did you get my LOI? I sent a proposal the other day. Okay,
I don't think so.
Okay, no problem. See, I'm biffing it already.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. This doesn't happen on real calls.
Yeah.
This thing.
Okay.
In real life, I would have done research, like for a couple minutes, about the listing. So I would have already had something to say. So I forgot that I don't actually know anything about your listing.
I got you.
So I'll just go into something like that.
Okay, make it up.
Yeah. See, it's been sitting a while. Is that accurate?
It has been sitting a while. Yeah, we're about 90 days on market. I mean, but after the holidays, right? Like we got some additional showings.
So it seems like a good property. Is that why there's no bites on it right now? Because it was over the holidays and things were crazy?
Yeah. I mean, over the holidays, I mean, we kind of knew it was, we weren't going to probably sell it over that. But now that it's like, I mean, we're in February now. Like, we got an uptick in January. We've had some dumb cash offers come through. If this is a dumb cash offer, I don't know why we're even talking.
I'm so offended. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not offended. No, I get you. Some of those cash offers can be pretty dumb. I see the listing. It was listed at $380 a few months ago. It's sitting at $355 right now.
Yeah, we've really brought it down.
Okay.
Well, let's pause.
Okay,
let's
sure.
pause for a second. Interesting. I'm learning about you right now. Yeah, you like to do research before you call.
A little bit. I like to know something.
Okay.
I'm not spending 2 hours learning.
Like
about
what?
that. Like where it is.
Okay.
I like
city or exact?
I just zoom out and I see a pin. Like, okay, it's in Glendale, whatever.
Got it.
Once I have a question about it, okay, let's call the guy. Let's ask. Maybe it's, why is it sitting? And sometimes they'll open up. They'll start calling me man or dude.
Yes.
Because
that's a good sign.
Then I know that I have a connection direct and that we have the same goal. Just a little bit stuff like that.
I think most people do that. I used to do it a lot too. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it. I also don't think you need to. For example, the 45 minutes that I was calling.
Yeah, you didn't have.
I didn't have a computer.
No.
I had my phone. I could have, I guess, looked it up something, right? I called 11 people. I had a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet had the address. I don't even know what, like, all I looked at was I go, okay. I literally, from one call to the next, okay? I had this spreadsheet. I'd go over. I'd hold my finger, because I'm on my phone, mobile. Hold my finger on the phone. It pops up and has, like, call as an option.
Yeah.
And, like, I slide over. I look, okay, where's this at? I'm like, okay, Peoria. What's the agent's name? Sally.
Yeah.
And the street name.
Call.
That's it. I hit call. While it's calling, I scrolled back over just so I could see the agent's name and the street name, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then they got on the phone. I'm like, I don't know how many bedrooms the house has. I don't know the condition the house has. I don't know where it is besides the city. So the point is, you don't need to know, especially for appointment setting. It doesn't even matter unless you're using it, leveraging it a little bit to try to make the phone call.
And I think it played into the rapport. Like, they want to know I give a crap.
And that's fine. Keep going, because you just got 5 out of 7 based on how many conversations you had. So whatever you're doing is working. The question is, if you're working an hour and a half every day, how much time are you losing doing research before you call? Especially if you do all this research and then you call and they don't answer.
They don't answer, yeah.
And how much time was wasted on all of those. Or if they just say no, even right away, a lot of time it could be wasted. Okay, not saying you need to adjust, just saying, trying to show you the possibilities. Be aware and know possibilities.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I also felt in times past that I needed some of that research, and it gave me more confidence. And if I needed that at the time, then I should have done it to do that. But over time, I learned that it was a false need.
Yeah, okay,
it was a false need. But sometimes we need that. We need to psych ourselves up or motivate us, or give us something else to rely on. Great job. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do one more role play.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, but I want you to think for 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll probably go into it.
You're totally fine.
Pauses. Yeah.
Yep, and if you still pause.
Okay.
I am totally fine with it.
But this is the general vibe of my phone calls. I'm better at doing that than doing the role play.
Which is why I'm trying to give you, I want to give you this minute because you're such in a routine of this is what you do. I'm going to give you in a minute to 30 seconds what you're calling about.
Okay,
This is my listing after all. So you're about to call me on my listing.
Yeah.
Okay, so in my listing is a house in Gilbert, Arizona, off of Baseline and Val Vista Road, near Val Vista Lakes.
Yeah.
It's a stucco home. It was built in 1998. Okay. It's actually pretty nice inside. It even has some of the faux-looking tile that looks like wood. If you can imagine this, it actually has a pool in the backyard.
Yeah.
The backyard, like there's a trampoline back there, but once you put the trampoline in, the yard is pretty much taken up. Okay. Can you imagine this now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably know where it is. Exactly. Yeah.
It's a 4-bedroom house, 4-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Okay.
And it's in great shape. Anything else you would like to know about the house?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Ring, ring, ring.
Yes. Hello. This is Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. My name is John. Look, I hope you don't hate me too much for calling. I'm a real estate investor calling about 4265 West whatever street. Is that your listing?
It is.
Okay, I see it's been, according to my data, it might be flawed. I don't know. It says it's been on the market for a while. Is that accurate?
Yeah, a little over 90 days.
Okay. Why no bites? It seems like a good house. Solid area.
The house is great, John. I mean, right? I think it's gorgeous inside.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved it, right? They're moving. It's just a little bit past the holidays. I think the holidays kind of put things on slow down.
Okay. If they get too slow, what's the seller, excuse me, like what are their options right now?
I mean, I guess they could rent it out, but they don't want to do that. I mean, they'll probably adjust. We're considering adjusting the price a little bit.
Okay.
We've gotten some dumb cash offers, but
Sure. Have you thought about like creative? Are you familiar with that?
it
could be a thing
I've
here.
gotten quite a few calls on other listings.
Sure.
Like creative, like is that like subject to all that stuff?
Yeah, subject to. So sometimes if you back down too much from the price, that eats into their equity. They're going to have to come up with $10,000, $20,000 sometimes. But let me tell you this. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here. So my partner is very interested in this house. What if I set you up with him on a phone call? Would that help you to know your options? He can bring you some real numbers. He's an underwriter.
I don't know if they're open to something creative like that though.
Okay. If it sits for like another 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks, they're just going to adjust the price again, or what is that going to look like?
Yeah, probably adjust the price, or they could probably go another month or two, and then they'll have to do something.
Okay. Because pretty soon what I see sometimes is they're going to have to actually come up with money to sell it, which my whole point is to not have them have to do that. Obviously, I'm in it for a deal too, but I want it to make sense for everyone. My underwriter can present it to you in a way that helps your seller see the value of sub 2, even if they've never heard of it before. Do you want, like, what if I set you up with a call with him at like 6:30 today?
Yeah, I think, okay, I guess it might be worth it to at least know what that option is.
Then you could have it, in your back pocket. When your seller, like when they're up against the wall, you have those real numbers ready to show to them. I think that could help. So 6:30 is cool?
Yeah, 6:30 works.
All right, I'll set you up with him. His name's Kyle. He'll give you a call at 6:30.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
All right.
Bye. Great job.
Something like that.
Great job. My main feedback was I was slightly worried when I said I don't think that they're going to be interested in something like that. And they're like, oh, well, maybe like a couple weeks down the road, whatever. I thought you were going to give up on the appointment.
Okay.
Versus based on what I said was like, oh, I'd like to still learn about the option, right? Mm-hmm. So I think a great thing to say there would have been like, oh, I'm not sure if they're going to be open to this. Oh, that's okay. Like this could even be a backup option when they're up against the wall or anything like that. Would you like to talk to them to know what that might look like? So at least like, for this house, you can know more of what your options are. Is that worth a phone call to you? Well, I probably would have been like, well, yeah, I guess that's worth talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good way to frame it too. It's like, is that worth a phone call? Yes. How do you say no to that?
Right. If they say no to that, they are against the idea. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If they're like, no, you know what, not right now. They've either dealt with creative or subject to or whatever, and it hasn't gone well, or maybe no, and they don't believe in it at all. In fact, they're anti. They're not neutral. If they're neutral and open-minded, they're going to be open to a phone call just to find out what that might look like.
Yeah. I guess best case scenario, in my opinion, in my uneducated opinion here, is if they lob that at me,
yeah,
I could assume, look, they're busy right now.
Yes.
What if I bring it back in a week to see how they feel?
Yes.
And I could pitch that.
And have that, and the sellers too. I just had a conversation today with a probate type lead. Okay. There's actually 10 people on the seller side. It's an inheritance.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there's actually 10 individuals that are reaping a benefit from selling the house. And we're talking about it, and she's just like, it was an appointment.
You were talking with the attorney?
Talking with an agent.
Okay,
this was an appointment set from one of my VAs.
Okay.
They sent me this appointment this morning. I jumped on the phone call. I'm like, okay, and we're talking about it. Right at the back. She's like, yeah, so just send over an offer, right? I'm like, well, I don't know what actually that offer would even look like right now. Luckily, there was no mortgage. So actually, I have a lot better idea what it could look like.
Yeah.
Because now, usually if there's a mortgage, I'm going to have to say, hey, it depends on what the interest rate is, the mortgage payment, all that stuff. I didn't need to go into that. But at the same time, so I'm not sending them an offer, right? Because we don't just send offers. And at the end of the day, she's just like, yeah, she kept on trying. She wanted me just to send something. She's like, oh, I'll present. As soon as I heard, she's like, it's my obligation to like send something to him. That's the last thing I want to do.
You
right?
know, she just wants you off the phone. At that point,
she either just wants me off the phone, or she's slightly open to it, has zero belief that it actually could work besides maybe 1% to 2%. She's like, you know what? If all the work I have to do is just grab an email that comes through and I can send it to him, be like, hey, look this over.
maybe she got 5 more. I don't actually know.
I don't know either. And she was so, didn't believe. And I basically told him, like, I straight up said, I said, hey, it sounds to me like right now you don't think that they would go for this at all. I don't.
Just pull it out of her. Yeah,
That's
how
got it
is.
right out.
That's
I'm
the
like,
reality.
no. I'm like, no. The real answer is she didn't believe in it at all. If I would have said, yeah, no problem, I'll just send you something over, she's not on board and she's not going to present it to her sellers in a way that's positive at all. What would most people do? They would just, oh, perfect, let me send this offer over to you.
And then best case scenario, the seller sees it. Okay, next.
Yeah, 1%.
Because it's framed that way from the agent.
Exactly. It sounds like it's not the right time right now. Right? I'm like, can they just wait and try to get a better offer? Like a normal offer right now? I'm like, yeah, like they're flexible and waiting a little bit. I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm like, look, she then says like, look, they're not up against a wall. And I said, oh, that's fine. We do buy a lot that are, but they don't have to be up against a wall. I just need everyone to walk away from the transaction being like, oh, I am so glad I did this. And I do think that this was the best option for me. Right? And right now they wouldn't feel that way. So I said, right now this is a timing thing.
Yes.
I'm like, they're still hopeful and think that a normal offer is going to come in. So I think we just need to put the brakes on a little bit. Put me in your back pocket, because in 2 weeks, a month from now, 2 months from now, things might change if it hasn't sold. They might be like, hey, we got to lower this price. And now they're like, oh, what if Kyle can come in and give us this higher number? Now all of a sudden, they might be able to walk away saying, this is why I want to do that.
Yeah. If the family is hiring an agent, that means maybe they're pretty patient. It depends on how many days on market it was.
Totally. And I want her to look good, right? I tell her, it's like, you're not going to look good sometimes just by you bringing an offer that you think is crappy to them and saying, here's another option.
Because she has to.
Because you have to. Like, no, you want to bring an offer being like, hey, look, you can be making this much more money with this. This is at least an option. You guys are getting so frustrated because of this darn market. You are now bringing this option that could save them.
Yeah.
Right? And actually be a good choice. I'm like, that's what I want. That's when I want you to bring our offer. So let's just become friends.
Yeah.
Keep me in your back pocket. Don't even tell them that I exist right now.
Yeah.
I didn't send you an offer. I'm just a potential buyer. And then you let me know when things change. We'll just kind of keep in contact.
Yeah. Even the phrase back pocket, like, I need something in my back pocket.
In fact, what's so funny is, here's another point where she could get motivated, is she's actually in Italy right now. And she's like, yo, I'm moving to Italy. This is my last listing. I need to get it done. So there's not a great relationship long-term there that like is probably smart for me to build, because she's going to be kind of done and out of Italy. However, what pressure might happen is an agent living in Italy trying to sell your house. She might get to the point where she's about to get fired if she can't sell it. And they're like, are you really the best agent for us when you're not even here locally?
Yes, I am, because I have Kyle in my
Yes,
back pocket.
now it's like, oh, no, look what I was also able to get this option for you. I could get this done for you right now at this number, type of thing, right? So I can see how it might play out multiple different ways.
Yeah.
But John, great job.
Oh, thanks.
Okay?
Yeah, on the
Role
phone.
play.
Yeah.
Great job. Role play is important. You need to practice this. People watching, right? They should be doing these things. Get a partner, get anyone where you should go through this and do different repetitions.
You know what I did one time is I had, you can talk to ChatGPT now.
Oh, yeah.
And I gave it a scenario, and I said, like, I gave it levels of difficulty. Forgot about this.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
was a couple weeks ago. I played with it for a little bit, like, because I use it a lot for other things. And I was talking to the microphone, right? Because I think I said that. You can talk to it now. And I was telling it to pretend to be these agents and give me a hard time.
Perfect. You should do that stuff more.
Yeah.
Practice more. You'll get even better. 5 out of 7 is still really, really good. Good job. And guys, everyone watching, right? With what you just watched, you did a great job, by the way.
Thanks.
Right? But obviously not perfect.
No.
But yet you got 5 out of 7 up, right? Out of 7 conversations, you got 5 appointments, right? Off of that type of structure, right? It's not rocket science,
No.
right? This rocket science is tough.
It's experience science. You just pick up the phone, you just try it.
You just have a conversation. You're a human. You're just a person calling up and having a conversation with somebody else. And just don't be selfish. This isn't just about you. You're trying to get information so you can see if it's a good fit for somebody else.
Yes.
Right? And if the timing's not right and whatever, you are not there to coerce or convince anyone to do anything. You're here to and sometimes you'll hear key things where it's like, ooh, they misunderstand things, right? That's what you're there for. Okay?
Yeah.
To guide them and to be a possible wonderful option for them. So awesome. This was a great episode. I hope everyone loved it. Don't forget, like and subscribe if you like this. More on To Millionaire. This is the future.
I love it.